Why?
Hey there.
Oh, woo, now we're cooking.
Woo!
See, that's
Praise the
not
Lord.
cool. It works on my phone, but not on my iPad, which is where, I wanted it to be. But you know
Right.
what? Here we are.
We're here. Amen.
Welcome, welcome,
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having
So
me.
let's give a few moments for folks to get back on. Hey, Donna, thank you for coming back on. Who else is there? Yolanda. Oh, hi, Yolanda. Welcome, welcome. Sorry, we was having a little bit of technical difficulties, and that's my technical difficulties trying to figure this thing out. But we are here, so we're not going to delay. I just want to thank you so much. I'm Phoenixx Love of A Healer's Haven. Thank you for joining Real Conversations with Real Souls. I have a wonderful special guest this evening. And that is, you see that beautiful smile? So y'all know this is going to be great. It's worth all of the trouble. Hey, Yolanda, thanks for joining. So I'm so excited, though. This is Miss Chaute Thompson. She's a licensed mental health counselor. She has a private practice in Florida called Inspire Hope Counseling Services. I said it correctly?
Inspiring.
Okay, great. Inspiring Hope Counseling Services. And we are going to talk this evening about recovering from loss. And we're going to look at loss. And, there could be all different types of loss in our lives. But more specifically, because Chaute is a specialist in dealing with divorce mediation and counseling people through divorce, but also we're going to look at loss of a loved one through death as well, because we know this is a time, the holidays is usually a time when people have lost loved ones. It's very, very difficult, and we really want to, tap into her expertise on how to help people cope through those different times in that type of transition in life. So without further ado, because I know, we lost a little bit of time, I just want to give a little bit of instructions. If you have questions, please just post them, and I will make sure that I let Chaute know so that she can, and I'll ask the question. Okay, but I really want to hear from you out there so that you can have your questions answered, because this is really for you. And I'll ask a couple of questions as well. So Chaute, I think the best thing, I know one of the things I wanted to start with, just so that people have an understanding, because we're both, clinicians and therapists, but, we have an understanding of a process and how we help people recover through certain different things in life, different situations and challenges. But I want to make sure that everyone has a comfortability of asking whatever questions are on their heart.
Definitely.
Wherever they are. Right. Exactly.
Yes.
So, so one of the things that I wanted to start with is really talking about the bereavement process, because whether you're going through a divorce or some other kind of loss, or if it's someone you have lost to death or dying, talk a little bit about what that bereavement process looks like, and from, some of the clients you have worked with.
Definitely. So, to start, I really want everyone to, well, hello, everyone. Hello, hello. I wanted to just really start and let everyone know that everyone grieves differently. Whenever you experience any type of loss, you're going to grieve differently based on your belief system, your upbringing, your age, your mental health. All of that's going to play a role in the way that you're going to grieve. Okay, and then there are 5 stages to grief, and this is what Phoenixx was just mentioning to you. The 5 stages are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Now, all of these stages, there's no particular order to the way that you're going to experience them. Okay, but just to go over briefly what each one entails, when you're going through denial, this is where you're not really ready to face the facts of what's going on in your body, your mind, all of you, you're just really not ready to even deal with any of it. So you are more so in denial about the reality of life, about the loss. You're not really paying too much attention about it. You're acting as if everything is okay, or you're not giving it the attention that others might think you should. Okay, so this is when you are going through the denial stage. The anger stage is where you are upset with the world. You could be upset with the individual that is gone. You might be upset with individuals around you. Anything and everything might just upset you. You might be really, really irritated with the way that life is in the moment. Okay, so that's when you are experiencing the anger stage. The bargaining stage takes place when it's the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. It's the what ifs. It's the if I did this differently, then I might have had a different outcome. Okay, so when you're going through this stage, it's all of the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. It's all of the, okay, well, maybe if I did this differently, then the outcome would be much different. And okay, I'm going to try doing this instead. If it's not where it's a death, but it's a relationship, or it could be with friends, family, all of that. So this is the bargaining stage. The depression stage is really just sadness. It's where sadness overwhelms you. You're really not having the drive and motivation to keep on keeping on, per se. You might get to go through your work day and interacting with others, but then by the time you get home, you really might feel numb to the world. You really might feel like not having the energy to do anything at all. All right, this is the sadness or depression stage. And then the last stage is acceptance. And acceptance doesn't mean that you're okay with what reality is, but it's where you are more accepting of, okay, this is reality. There's something that I can do about it. So let me find ways to move forward and press forward. So those are the 5 stages of grief, and you can go in between them at any time. Sometimes you might start to feel acceptance, and then you might get angry again. All right, so it's important to be aware of what the stages are, because when you're aware, you can realize that, okay, it's normal what I'm experiencing. Many people go through this, and it's all a part of healing. Okay, so that's very, very, very important.
And thank you, Chaute, for breaking down each of the stages. And the important thing that you said is that it doesn't always go in that order.
Mm-hmm.
And because and everybody's different, like you said, based on upbringing, based on your spiritual beliefs. All of that is a factor, and that's so
Definitely.
important, because we actually have a few folks that are on here right now that just, they're saying, look, I just lost someone, people that I know, personally, they've
Mm-hmm.
lost someone even as of today.
Wow.
So they're dealing with that. So they just may be right in the initial stage.
Definitely.
And just you outlining exactly, kind of giving them what to expect to some degree. I think that's going to be comforting and helpful on its own. So
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that you went through the stages. And I think one of the things that also be helpful for folks to hear, if you have questions, please put them in the comments. If you have specific questions for Chaute, please ask them, anything that you should be expecting, or ways to cope, because I think that's very important, Chaute, especially because we have people that are actually experiencing loss, right now.
Right now, yes.
What kind of coping skills to be able to help them?
Right. So I did prepare 6 coping skills, tips that can help everyone through the grieving process. So is it okay to uh,
Please go ahead.
do that
Yes.
now? Okay, good. Alrighty. So
Yeah.
the first tip that I wanted to give you was to talk about it. Have a friend, a family member, a professional, anyone at all that you are able to vent to, that you're able to share your heart with, share your emotions with. Do that, because that's really a part of healing, is really talking about what you're going through and what you're feeling. Okay, so that first tip is really find someone that you feel comfortable talking to and talk about it. Get it out. All right. The second stage is feel the funk. Doesn't sound very good, but allow yourself to feel the funk. Okay, but commit not to stay there. All right. So what I mean by that is some days you're going to be a-okay. You're going to feel like it might be one of your better days. Okay, but then some days you're really just going to feel an overwhelmed of sadness, or there might be different triggers that remind you of your loved one that's no longer here. And those moments, you're really going to feel sad and not really have any motivation to be around others. Allow yourself to feel that, because by not bottling it up and by not accepting that this is something that I'm truly feeling right now, it's not going to help you to heal. But by allowing yourself to feel it, it helps to heal. Okay, so that's my second tip for you. The third tip is healthy distractions. All right. Allow yourself to do your daily routines, to participate in outings or activities with loved ones that can help to take your mind off of the loss. Having healthy distractions is helpful, and it helps you to sometimes just take your mind off of the here and now. Okay. The next stage is self-care. That one is so important. Take some time to take a
Yes.
nice long bath, or go for a walk, or exercise, or read a good book, or watch one of your favorite shows, or spend some time with loved ones. Doing something for yourself at least once each week. Okay, at least once, because self-care, self-love is going to help you to get through this and face the facts of, all right, everything is not 100%, but today I might be at 70%. Okay, so being able to love on yourself is going to be helpful. Okay. The fifth tip I wanted to give you was, do not do things to numb the pain. All right. Avoid numbing the pain with alcohol, or with drugs, or with maladaptive behaviors. Anything that's not going to bring you good. Make sure that you are staying away from these behaviors, because even though in the moment it might help to take your mind off of things, in the end, once that high subsides, you're going to feel worse. Okay, so commit to not numb the pain. And then the last tip that I wanted to give you was, have an attitude of gratitude. Make sure that you focus on the lessons learned, the beautiful moments that you did experience. Focus on the positives in the here and now. Because when you focus on these things, that your perspective is going to be so much brighter. You're going to be able to see the good and learn the lessons and come away with some type of wisdom and some type of positives from the relationships that might be no more. Okay?
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Shate. And I see a lot of people are saying thank you. This is so
Oh,
helpful. It's
you're
timely,
welcome.
just looking at some of the comments. And again, if anyone has specific, if you just join, if you have any specific questions around dealing with grief and bereavement from losing a loved one, please, type them in the comments so that I can let Shate know. And you can ask them, and so she can answer them while she's here.
Great.
But one of the things that I just want to echo that you said is so important, because I'm huge on self-care and
Mm-hmm.
self-love, but especially when you're going through grief and bereavement, just loving on yourself and being patient with yourself is
Mm-hmm.
so important. Be easy with yourself, because and give yourself time to mourn, time to heal. I mean, that's
Yes.
a big part of it. That's where the self-love comes in. And that's not something that's going to happen overnight. I mean, I lost my grandmother, who was near and dear to my heart, well over 20 years ago, and I
Mm-hmm.
still miss her. I mean,
Definitely.
it's not right. It's not a situation where you forget the person, and if you
Mm-hmm.
go out and you're going out with friends or you're doing stuff and you actually have a smile on your face, it doesn't mean that you're forgetting about the person.
Right.
The person can always be with you. It all depends on your beliefs and your spiritual beliefs. They'll always be in your heart. There's always ways, to pay homage to someone. Some people do memorials. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can honor a lost one, a loved one that you lost,
Mm-hmm.
that may have passed on. So, be gentle with yourself and practice self-love, like Chaute was saying. It's
Right.
so important during this time. Chaute, I didn't know if you had something else you wanted to add.
Yes, I wanted to add two things. One, and then at the very end, I have some tips as far as when to seek professional help. So we can touch on that a little bit later. But
Okay.
you
And
mentioned about, pardon?
no, I'm just being mindful of time. I'm just watching the time for you as
Okay.
well.
You, it's first important to know that everyone is going to deal with it differently. So for some individuals, they might start to feel like they are in the acceptance stage after a year or 2 years or 3 years, and others it might take the 5, 6 years to really be at that 100%, right? But with that, it's important to start to create new traditions for yourself and do different things that you can incorporate this person's memory if it's a loss, or you can create different traditions to help yourself through if it's a divorce where, okay, the relationship is not the way that it used to be anymore. So always create new traditions, be creative, have fun with it.
Okay, thank you for that. One of the things, because I did want to transition, because we kind of opened up with loss of a loved one to death, as far as death is concerned, because I did, have a few guests that were on, or viewers that were on that actually lost a loved one recently. But you brought up divorce, because I know that's your specialty. And can you talk a little bit about that bereavement process, because that can also be a bereavement process as well, because it's still
Mm-hmm.
this is still a form of loss. And what is your approach when working with clients that are going through divorce? How do you help them? Because I know you went through the Kubler-Ross stages of death, and mourning and grief and bereavement, but this, I'm sure, is very different, because we're talking about a divorce, after being married to someone for a period of time.
Surprisingly, it's actually the same. It's a loss. It's where, let's
Wow.
say you
Okay.
were together for 10 years or 5 years, and you have all of these different memories that you do together. It might be as simple as every Tuesday you have taco night, right? Or it could be
Mm.
where, as a family, you have family night every Saturday night. Okay, so when you experience the loss of the relationship now you are going to go through the denial that, okay, this relationship is, it's not, I'm actually still like, to actually have to say I'm single or I'm divorced. It's big for some individuals, or for many individuals, when they go through a divorce. The anger is real. You might feel betrayed, or there might be some infidelity, or the relationship just didn't turn out the way that you expected. So there's anger, there's hurt, there's sadness there. Okay, and then as far as the bargaining, we all go through the shoulda, coulda, wouldas in any relationship. So is everything okay? So when you have a divorce, those same
Go ahead.
feelings,
Just keep talking. I'm trying to.
no problem. That those
Go ahead.
same emotions take place. So surprisingly, the 5 stages of grief takes place with the loss of a relationship. When it comes to divorce, it's the same with the loss of a
Mm-hmm.
relationship when it comes to best friends, if the friendship ended. It could be family members falling out. It could be a loss of a loved one. The 5 stages are real for every type of loss. So when I'm helping those individuals, I'm treating them the same way when I'm helping someone that has lost someone, um, a loved one. But then I guess the difference is I'm also a reset coach. So I help women or individuals rediscover and redefine themselves. So after they have gone through this divorce and now they're learning how to be brand new again, that's my
Mm-hmm.
specialty. That's one of my specialties.
And that leads to my very important question. What does recovery look like? Whether it's dealing with a loss in divorce or with that, what does that a typical, and I know it varies, depending on the person, but just to give some idea.
Really, recovery is a step-by-step process. So, in time, you're gonna see that you're able to write that date down when they passed, or you're gonna be able to do things that you loved doing with them, but in the very beginning you couldn't even look at it. For example, if you loved watching a certain movie with them, or they loved a certain sport and that's something that you spent time with them, you might put these things aside for a bit because it hurts to look at it, right? It hurts to give it that attention. But
Yeah.
as you are recovering and as you are going through the tips I mentioned earlier, you'll see that with time, which we always hate to hear time heals, but
Right, right.
there's truth in that statement that as time goes, we are better able to deal with the reality of the here and now and focus on what we loved about these individuals and having these individuals in our lives and what we can embrace about what they brought to our life.
That's wonderful. That's beautiful. And that's so important because, I think any type of reflection is always going to be, comforting to some
Mm-hmm.
degree. Yes, you go through the pain points, you go through the times of, like you said, feeling angry. You're right. It is very similar. Now think about, the stages you can go through.
Mm-hmm.
If you have spent 20 years with someone, 15 years, 10, whatever, being married with that person, doing different traditions,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's no longer there.
Right.
It's like you said, it's resetting your life. It's, you have to kind of just reorganize because everything was around you being attached to someone else.
Exactly.
And me being married, I understand that because when you make those vows, especially if you do it, in a church and part of a religion,
Mm-hmm.
it's all about being, saying vows, under the sight of God. And there's a lot of different things that come with that from a
Mm-hmm.
spiritual standpoint. So and that's a whole nother layer, that can make it challenging when you're
Mm-hmm.
talking about resetting your life, whether you're the
Right.
male or the female in the relationship. So, can you talk a little bit about the spirituality piece of it with both death as well as divorce? Because I know that comes up a lot with both, and how it's used or not used in the recovery phase and helping someone to heal after loss.
Well, I mean, our belief systems really sets the tone for how we're going to be able to heal. For example, if someone does believe in a higher power or believe in God and have that hope in him, then they're able to go back to the word or go back to their system of belief to be able to gain that hope to know that, okay, although in my present life this is a loss, it's something that is for my good in the end. So they're able to
Right.
hold on to that hope, and that gives them drive to keep on. Now it's a little bit more difficult for individuals that do not have that grounded belief system in a higher power, because then it's harder to find that hope. They really have to dig a little bit deeper within themselves to say, okay, this is what my reality is, and finding ways to say, all right, it's actually going to be okay. Because that hope that you receive from
All
having
right.
a belief
It's
system,
actually going to be okay. Because
um, what
sorry
is
about
it?
that.
No worries. That hope that you have when you have that belief system, it really drives your entire life to help you to be okay, even though you're not. Um, it's not what you truly desire. Make sense?
Right, right. One of the things I just want to stop for 1 second because I'm not able to see the questions if there's questions. So that's why I was trying, you see me
Okay.
tapping a little bit, Chaute, because I know you can't really see the questions and I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. So just bear with me.
Okay. I'm looking now to see if I
Okay.
see
Are
any.
you able to
Yes,
see
I can see
questions?
some of the posts there, but I don't see any questions. I see some of
Okay.
the
You can see the
responses.
comments though, because I can't see the
Yes.
comments right now for some reason.
Okay. So if you have
Listen,
any
everyone,
questions,
plus
please chime in
yeah.
and ask, so I'll be able to help in any way that I can. Um, I see Venus. I'm sorry for your loss, Venus. Sending you my condolences.
Yes.
Okay,
Venus
Donna. Yes,
lost
I'm
her
glad that it
nana.
makes sense.
Yeah.
So
Okay, wonderful.
let
Oh,
me go ahead and give you some of the signs that you might need to seek professional help, and then we'll go and look at questions, Phoenixx. Is that okay?
that sounds good. Perfect. Because I see the comment that just came up. So go ahead,
Okay,
Chaute. Thank
good.
you. Mhm.
So some of the symptoms or signs for you to know that you truly need to seek some professional help is if you're overwhelmed with sadness, if you're overwhelmed with your emotions, that it's affecting your daily living. If you're finding that you're having difficulty sleeping, or that you're sleeping majority of the day. If you're having racing thoughts, or you're worrying often, if you're not finding pleasure in activities that you used to find pleasure in. Okay. Let me see, I wrote down some notes, make sure that I'm touching on everything. If your appetite has changed, all right, all of these are signs that you might need to go and seek professional help. Okay. If you have relationships that are suffering, if you're easily irritated, if you're having problems focusing, all of these are really important signs that, okay, you might need to go seek professional help.
Okay. Wonderful. So let me and I apologize if I'm not saying the name correctly. Chakiwa
Shakia,
La Chakia. Okay.
yes.
She says, I often find it hard to know what to say to someone who has lost someone via death, divorce, or loss of friendship. What is the best way to support someone who has a loss of a loved one? I believe is what she
Without
said.
making it
Mhm.
awkward for both parties.
Right.
I like that
Yeah, that is
question.
tough. Yeah, it is great. It's
Without
a
making
great
it
question. I know
awkward.
I
That
struggle
right
with
there
that
is the
too
big
sometimes.
one, the big
Yeah.
part of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's important to ask them. Communication's key, right? So if you ask them, how can I support you? Okay, I really care and I'm here for you. Is there anything that I can do to be a support system for you? Sometimes individuals just need you to be there without even talking about their loss. And just your presence is support enough. All right. Sometimes they want you to be their healthy distraction, right? Where they can
Right.
just go out with you and have a good time without focusing on their sadness. And that's you being a support system. If they need to vent, having that person that they can vent to. So if that's you, then accept it. So really, first things first, communicate with them. Let them know that you care and you want to be a support system. How can you help? Okay, and if they don't have any ways, then be your natural self, because we all have our love language. So do what comes natural to you. And it might be that you cook them a meal every so often, or you send them a card every so often, or you just call them just to check on them. Whatever comes natural for you is your way of showing that love to them, is also a great support.
Yes, definitely. And Daphne, hey Daphne, thanks for joining.
Hey there.
Daphne says, she says something really great. She says, being a healthy distraction for someone or being someone they can vent to and giving good guidance, which is definitely important,
Mm-hmm.
especially the distraction piece,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of times, and I think you spoke about this, Chaute, when we've, lost someone, or, we're going through divorce or something, where there's a loss involved, we want to isolate and just
Mm-hmm.
kind of, go off and kind of lick our wounds, and, which you do need that time. You do need time to yourself to do self-care. However, that isolation also can turn into, like you said, depression or
Mm-hmm.
negative habits or numbing yourself, trying to, whether it's using substances or drinking, which, can create a whole nother problem.
Yes.
So it's good, definitely, like you said, to stay connected. Daphne mentioned, stay connected, go out, get on the phone with someone or have lunch with someone, but don't isolate, like,
Mm-hmm.
for extended periods of time.
Right.
That's very important.
Right. Commit not to stay in the funk.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, good guidance. Okay, Chaute. Let me see. Are there any other questions? Please post your questions in the comments that you may have for Chaute. I'm just going back just to make sure I haven't missed any. Communication is key. Yes, definitely. Okay, just scrolling back through. Okay, so I'm just 7:14 because I know, Chaute, I know you had something you had to go to. So what's your cutoff? And I'm just
I'm good
being
with you until
mindful of the time.
7:30. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. So one of the things, one of the questions that I had, and we touched on it a little bit, but I want to be very specific because anytime in our work as clinicians, we're always talking about coping skills.
Yes.
And making sure that our clients are using coping skills, even as therapists using coping skills for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And what does coping skills actually look like for, someone that may be dealing with some kind of loss? And you touched on some of it, but I want people to be very specific. Let me try this because, everybody's different.
Mm-hmm.
But just to give them some, 5 coping skills that they can use and, what that actually looks like on a day-to-day basis of that they
Okay,
can
for
actually
sure.
use.
One of my favorites, journaling. And yes, we have our normal traditional pen to paper type of journaling, but one that I like to incorporate is be creative with it. So if you like pictures, then make a journal of memes, of quotes, of pictures, and this is going to help you to get through. If you like video, then make a video journal for yourself. And this is something that could be locked on your phone or iPad or tablet or whatever device you use, but this is for you. And then you're going to see your growth as you look back through your video journal, or you can do an audio journal. Okay, but journaling is awesome because it helps you to process. It helps you to get through the what you're feeling in the moment. It helps you to be cognizant of what you're feeling in the moment. And then you'll be surprised that as you are journaling, the answers and the ideas and the different things that you should try to help yourself heal, it's going to come to you while you're journaling. Okay, so that's one awesome tool that you can use is journaling. Another awesome coping mechanism is music or poetry. So if you see that you like music, take note of the music that's calming for you to help you to
Yes.
get through your hard days. Okay? If you like poetry or if you write poetry, take that time to express yourself in these creative ways to help yourself get through what you're feeling. Okay, that self-care and self-love, that is a great coping skill there because it's where you're able to love on yourself. You're able to focus on what's good about you and how you are able to help yourself. Okay, so don't knock that self-care. It's a great coping skill to help you embrace who you are and where you have come from. Something that you can do is quarterly write down who you are, what's been happening for you. So you can be able to see your personal growth from January to April to August to December. Like, really take note of where you are in your process so you'll be able to see how awesome you really are and how you're growing. Because it's so easy for us to downplay our growth, right? It's very, very easy for us to downplay our growth. So start to be intentional to actually take note of your growth throughout this process. All right. So if you recently had a loss, take some time to really just write down how angry, how sad, how hurt you are. And then 3 or 4 months from now, go back and write again to see where you are in, to see where
Okay.
you are in your process.
Okay. Wonderful. Those are some excellent tips. And I'm actually going to type them up after we get off the broadcast, and I'll have them in the comments because
Okay.
those are really great tips. Um, but one of the things I just want to emphasize is allowing yourself to feel those emotions.
Mm-hmm.
That is so important. If you need to scream, if you need to cry, you just need to have a cry fest.
Mm-hmm.
It's called catharsis. Just let it out. That's important. That's important. It's critical, actually. It's
It
vital. It's a
is.
part of your healing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's where, again, what Chaute was saying about the journaling comes in, or if it's music or poetry. And I'm going to add in there dancing, movement, just kind of letting yourself be free, put
Mm-hmm.
some music on and just dance around the room. And, all of that is it's all healing and soothing and therapeutic for you, and for the emotions that you're going to go through. Anytime you're dealing with loss, you're going to go through a variety of different emotions at different stages, which is what Chaute talked about in the beginning of the live when we started,
Mm-hmm.
the different stages. So you're going to feel a variety of emotions, and that can all happen. Look, that could happen in 1 hour, while you're going through this process, and that's
Mm-hmm.
the real talk about it. You're not, it's not going to be a linear process at all. It can go all over the place, but allow yourself to be present in that moment and in
Yes,
those emotions.
absolutely.
That is so, and I don't know, Chaute, if you want to speak a little bit more to that, because that is so important,
Well,
critical.
yeah, that goes back to that second tip that I gave is feel the funk. It's important.
Mm-hmm.
If you're bottling it up, you're not going to be able to
Feel
heal.
it.
Okay? It's going to get
Exactly.
worse for you and then you can go into full-blown depression if you keep it bottled
Yes.
up. Okay? So it's important to feel the funk, but I love to say after that, commit yourself not to stay in the funk. All right. So
Mm.
allow yourself to feel the funk. All righty. Feel the sadness, feel the anger, feel all of these horrible feelings that you're going to go through because it is a loss. Okay? But then make sure that, all right, if too much time is passing by, do something to get yourself out of it.
Exactly. Okay, so oh, this was excellent, and
I
I'm
see a
sorry. I just want to apologize for all of the little technical glitches, but I'm gonna get it right. I promise. Um, so I'm gonna just scroll because some reason it's not moving my comments, so I
I
apologize
see
for my
a
finger.
question there from Princess. Do you see it?
Nope, that's what I'm saying. So go
No?
ahead if you see it.
Okay, it reads, what do you do when a person who has suffered loss does not want you or anyone else to be there for them? The person has basically shut down and is negative about life. What do you say or do, or should you let them be? So that's a really good question, Princess. And the first thing that I'll first say to you is it's important to take note of how long they have felt this way. Um, and then second, it's important for you to remember that you have no control over this individual. So, yes, you can definitely reach out to them, let them know that you're here for them. Love them from afar. If you're spiritual, pray for them. Okay. Those are the first things for sure. And then if you're seeing that you can get them to maybe seek professional help, if you're seeing that their appetite has changed or they're sleeping majority of the day or they're having a hard time sleeping, like all of those tips of symptoms that I gave earlier, if they're falling into that category, it sounds like they really might need some professional help. Okay, so you
Mm.
can give them recommendations, you can do some research for them and just give it to them so they have access to it. Alrighty. Um, but then it is up to them to get the help.
Right. And one way that as therapists, as clinicians, that we, usually use as a measuring stick of if someone needs professional help is if it's impeding on their day-to-day functioning.
Yes.
If they are, it's gotten to a point where they are no longer functioning, maybe they're missing work, or they, things that they usually enjoy, and it's they're totally like, and this is also timing, also the time frame that they're experiencing this behavior or these symptoms, and you as a friend or a loved one is recognizing it, because sometimes they can't see it for themselves because they're in it. So that's why it's important that, if you notice someone, close to you is having certain symptoms or they're behaving differently, yeah, sometimes you have to be the one to step in and make the recommendation, because they can't see it themselves. But you know that they're not themselves, and they're not, they've kind of checked out of life and not doing what they normally do, and not experiencing, enjoyment or just the normal things that we would normally do. And yes, we know there's going to be something when you have a loss in your life, there's going to impact you a certain way. But if it goes on for an extended period of time, that's when we have to look at, okay, maybe they need to see someone, a professional, and get some assistance.
And if I can add, it's also important that if you're seeing that they are not really having the will to live, like it's getting that extreme to where they're not interested in living or being or interacting much anymore, then you can call the police, because a police officer can Baker Act an individual if it's needed. Okay, so if they're not willing to go to a professional and you see that they are thinking about suicide or not having that will to live anymore, then you can get them some help to make sure that they're getting exactly what they need. And a police officer will make that call. It's not you to make that call, it's the police officer.
Right. And you can call 911. You can also, take someone to the emergency room, the ER if necessary. And I'm also going to post the National Suicide Hotline as well.
That's a good thing.
Because I think that's important to have at your disposal. Just, anybody can call that line, that's concerned, and for a loved one that may be, deeply depressed or considering suicide.
Yeah.
Okay, one more question. How do you bridge the peace so you don't feel you need to avoid being in someone's presence during the grieving process? I'm sorry, I'm getting pop-ups that's blocking. During the grieving process, if they are angry.
Okay. So how do you bridge the peace?
Bridge the peace so you don't feel that you're invading their space.
Your self-care is important too. So as much as you care about this individual, you have to care about yourself as well. Okay, so do what you are able to do. All right, and then when you see that you are not able to be in that person's presence, then take a break. Okay, take a break, and then when you are mentally and emotionally capable of being there for them again, then do that. All right, but your mental health, your emotional health is just as important as that person's mental and emotional health. All right, so if you see that it's just a bit too much for you, because we all have our limit as far as what we're able to take in. All right, so if you see that it's just a bit much, then step aside for a bit. Do some self-care for yourself. All right, and then go back and help the individual in whatever way that you are able to help.
Excellent. Okay, so if there aren't any more questions, I know it's almost 7:30. Chaute, before you go, I want to just thank you so much. This was excellent. It was helpful. I knew it would be, because, just you are being you, and
thank you.
all of the wonderful experience that you have. Please let the viewers know, exactly how to reach you. And if there's anything you want to share with them, please, this is the opportunity to do so.
Okay, well, I have two things. One, I have a 7-day challenge that's coming up in January. If you'd like to participate, you can put your email below. or you can subscribe to Inspire Hope Health Healing. That's inspirehopehealthhealing.com. You can give your email address there. So you can put it down below, or you can send it to Inspire Hope Health Healing. This 7-day challenge is about living a purpose-driven life, a brand new you, purpose-driven. It's a 7-day challenge. All righty.
Yes.
And each day I'm going to give you a different challenge, and we're going to have hashtags that we can all be a great community, accountability partners, and help each other along our challenge. All right, so that's the first thing that I wanted to tell you about. So if you're interested, put your email below or subscribe to Inspire Hope Health Healing. And then the second thing I wanted to let you know about is my Facebook community, Brand New Me, Phenomenally You. This is where I provide resources, education, support, empowerment, all of that good stuff to people that have experienced significant breakups, divorce, separation. So if you know anyone that's experiencing any of these things, or you yourself are experiencing that, you can go ahead and like that page. Lastly, I have something called Tuesday Topics. Every Tuesday or every other Tuesday, I have a topic that I will come on and discuss. So if you like my page, Chaute Thompson, LMHC, you'll be able to see, sorry about that, you'll be able to see my Tuesday topics. So I'll add all of those things here for you, Phoenixx, and I know that she'll provide it
I was going to say,
for
please,
you.
yes. Okay, wonderful. So good. Chaute will have all of those, that information, how to follow her, her group, all of her information will be in the comments, and already see someone included their email information, Chaute.
Good
So
stuff. Thank you. I look forward
well,
to
thank
it.
you so much,
Thanks for
Chaute.
having
Thank
me.
you
I
for
loved
joining
it.
us. This was wonderful. And I am going to close out. Chaute, if you need to get off, because I know it's 7:30, I'm going to close out just with a little bit of prayer.
Okay,
And,
I'll stay for that.
Okay. So I want to thank everyone for joining this evening. This was I know it's a tough topic, but I'm so glad that we were able to share some tips, and Chaute was able to offer her expertise. So I just want to say a quick prayer, and it comes from one of my favorite books. It's called Scriptural Prayers for the Praying Woman, and it's really all about how to deal with the loss of a loved one. But I think it's timely and it's relevant to everything we talked about. So you can close your eyes, you can keep them open, and you can just listen. So, dear Heavenly Father, I come before you. I come before you with love in my heart. How to deal with loss, asking for your strength during this time. Help us, Lord, to overcome any grief or any despair, because without you, we know we cannot do it on our own. We call on you, Holy Spirit, who lives inside of us, to comfort. Comfort those who are dealing with loss at this time. Comfort them with your love, and wrap your love around them. We understand that grief is a process, so help them to walk through this process without giving in to despair. Give them the strength to praise you, even though they may not feel like it. You are a hiding place in the strong tower, a fortress, ever-present help in times of trouble. Your joy is the strength. Your comfort sustains them. Your peace will keep their souls from being in anguish. You are hope. You are victory. Thank you for your love, for your peace that passes all understanding. Thank you for wrapping your loving arms around each and every person that is on this live broadcast right now. Comfort them, Father. Lift them up. Be what they need right now and in the times of need. Say all of this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, everyone, for joining Real Conversations with Real Souls. And don't forget, we have tomorrow, it's going to be really great as well. We have Juanita Martin that's going to join us, and Venus was on here as well, Venus Moore, where we're going to talk about different healing methods using energy healing, crystals, gemstones. So that's going to be awesome. So, join us tomorrow, the same time, 6:30, same time, same bat time, same bat place. But thank you for joining. Thank you again, Chaute.
You're
Have a
welcome.
blessed evening,
Take
everyone.
care.
Take care.